Mixture problems. You've got to make a solution, and a lot of times it will set up a proportion, so work that out. So, or like a concentration type of situation. This one, example 8. Anytime that you've used bleach, it has like a ratio that you need to put in. In this case, they're saying a bleach mixture requires 1/4 of a cup of bleach, which is not much, used for every gallon of water. How much bleach is needed to make a bleach mixture that calls for 5 gallons of water? So let's go set up a proportion. Now, in lesson 6.6, we learned that when we set up a proportion as for a word problem, we need to label each side. So let's have a side that's for bleach, amount of bleach, okay? Amount of bleach, and amount of water, okay? And let's go ahead and be a little bit fancier too. The bleach is going to be in cups, and the water will be in gallons, okay? Because it's a cup of bleach, 1/4 cup of bleach to every gallon of water. Label it. Now, I know that 1/4 of a cup would be used for 1 gallon. And I want this 1/4 of a cup of bleach matching up to this 1 gallon of water up top. The question is how much bleach, which means we don't know, put a variable there, is going to be used for 5 gallons of water. Here's your proportion. You can cross multiply and set up however you want. Um, so let's go through and solve for x. 1/4 times 5. Now, if you don't have a calculator, and I hope you don't have to use a calculator, 1/4 times 5, because we're doing the cross multiplication. Remember, just put a 1 underneath the 5. 1 times 5 is 5, and 4 times 1 is 4. So that's 5/4. Let's extend the page there just a little bit. Equals x times 1 is 1x. We don't really need to write the 1 because if we take it away, we still understand it's the same thing. It's still there. So x is 5/4. So how many cups of bleach do we need? 5/4 cups? No, and our answer is not a ratio, so it's okay to go ahead and turn it into a mixed number. 4 goes into 5 one time. We have 1 left over. So 1 1/4 cups of bleach is needed to make a bleach mixture that calls for 5 gallons of water. Now, remember, I'm not writing on paper. On paper, my writing would look a lot neater. And also remember that I'm restating this question. How much bleach is needed to make a bleach mixture that calls for 5 gallons of water? 1 1/4 cups of bleach is needed to make, see, I forgot that right there, to make a bleach mixture that calls for 5 gallons of water. And if you've got your paper and this is for a test or quiz or an assignment, is needed to make a bleach mixture that calls for 5 gallons of water. Clean it up and keep it nice and neat. Okay? So, for every 10,000 gallons of water, there needs to be 1 gallon of liquid chlorine. Those not familiar with liquid chlorine, I don't want to say it's kind of like bleach, but I mean, honestly, that's what it is in my opinion. When I put it in my pool, it pretty much seems that way. Steve has a 55,000-gallon pool. How much liquid chlorine does he need to add to his pool? And you can see I forgot an S right there, so let me just add that S in. Okay, does he need to add to his pool? Well, why do they give it to us in 10,000 gallons of water for 1 gallon of liquid chlorine? I'll tell you why. If you go and check a bottle of liquid chlorine, it literally says 1 gallon for every 10,000 gallons of water. And when you have a pool, when you buy it or if it's constructed for you, whether it's above ground or in ground, it tells you how many gallons of water is in your pool if you have it full filled up, and you need to know that so you can put in the right amount of liquid chlorine. Too much, awful things. Too little, awful things happen. So it's important, and this is a real life proportion that you can set up to use to determine how much you need to go in. So let's do this. And I know that 1 gallon of chlorine, so let's just put chlorine here. I always forget the L. Liquid chlorine amount, okay? And let's over here put gallons of water, okay? That'll be the amount in the pool. 1 gallon of liquid chlorine goes to 10,000 gallons. So let's put 10,000 here. Let's make it into a proportion. And let's put an equal sign here. So now we need to put in our second ratio. What's given and what's not. Steve has a 55,000 gallon pool. So 55,000 gallons goes here. And how much liquid chlorine do I need? I don't know. But now we have a proportion. This ratio will be equal to this ratio. And so 1 times 55,000 is 55,000. And x times 10,000 is 10,000x. Now normally you've seen me do the variable times the diagonal number first. That's fine. In fact, that's more appropriate, but I just wanted to see that if you accidentally make a mistake, it's not going to hurt you. You can still do it this way. And then now we can divide by 10,000. Actually, let's back that up and make it a little neater. Now we can divide by 10,000. And we can divide 55,000 by 10,000. And what we would get is 5.5 equals x. Since the liquid chlorine is dealing with gallons and the x is in the liquid chlorine side of the proportion, I know that Steve needs 5.5 gallons of liquid chlorine added to his pool. So now let's just try to restate what the question wants in the form of an answer. 5.5 gallons, since we want to clarify how much it is, or we talking cups or gallons or whatnot. 5.5 gallons of liquid chlorine needs to be added to, and I'm not going to say his pool, I'm going to say Steve's pool, okay? Because I'm just want to get Steve's name in there. And that's it. We've done the whole problem. Every problem is going to be similar. Again, set up a proportion where one ratio is set up on top, one ratio is set up on bottom. Label what each side of your proportion is. This side is dealing with the amount of liquid chlorine. This side is dealing with the number of gallons of water. X, you know, honestly, I've been a little slack in this. X equals amount of liquid chlorine for Steve's pool. And so now when I solve for x, I know that x is the amount of liquid chlorine for Steve's pool. And when I've restated it in my final restatement of the problem with the answer, it just makes sense that, hey, this is the amount of gallons of liquid chlorine for Steve's pool. I know it seems like a lot of work, but that's what I want you to do every single time.